This presentation covers all the materials presented at tonight's public meeting and explains how to submit your questions and comments. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, teamed with consultants, are in the early design phase for the reconstruction of KY4, New Circle Road. The project begins just north of the Richmond Road Overpass Bridge and ends at the intersection with Trade Center Drive. The project has been broken into two segments to view it in greater detail, with varying alternatives for improvement within each segment. Section A begins at Woodhill Drive and extends to the R.J. Corman Bridge. Section B begins at the R.J. Corman Railroad Bridge and ends at Trade Center Drive. At the beginning of each roadway project, the Transportation Cabinet creates a purpose and need statement that clearly identifies why the project is needed and the objectives that will be important to address with any improvement option. The purpose of this project is to increase safety, mobility, and system linkage to support continued and sustainable economic development. In addition to improving safety and reducing traffic congestion, the proposed project will consider the bike and pedestrian needs of the area and the economic development access needs. Access points and high traffic volumes result in a high number of crashes along the corridor. Traffic congestion deters potential customers from the commercial areas. Traffic demands along New Circle Road have steadily increased over the years and will continue to grow due to development in Lexington. This section of KY4 is functionally classified as an urban major arterial. The 4-lane route is largely commercial. All alternatives considered will improve the safety and capacity of this corridor. An environmental study is done for each project to determine the environmental impacts that the new construction might have. This can include impacting endangered species, encountering hazardous materials, affecting potential historic properties, encroaching on public properties such as parks, and more. The most significant environmental concern in this KY4 corridor is the presence of hazardous material sites. There are also several streams that cross the project. A link has been provided on the project website for any person with an interest in serving as a consulting party in the identification of and mitigation for historic properties. From 2021 to 2023, a total of 493 crashes were reported from Woodhill Drive to Trade Center Drive. 259 of these crashes were rear ends, and 76 crashes were angle crashes at intersections or driveways. Two typical sections are being considered for the KY4 corridor, one for Section A and one for Section B. Both typical sections include a non-traversable median, 6 travel lanes, curb and gutter, a 5-foot sidewalk, and a 10-foot shared use path. Left turns are provided mostly at approach roads, where U-turn movements will be utilized to get to private entrances. This access management also reduces the number of left turns at major intersections. The main difference between Section A and Section B's typical section is the amount of space provided between the curb and the sidewalk or multi-use path. For Segment A of the project, from Woodhill Drive to the R.J. Corman Railroad Bridge, there are two alternatives being considered. One is a grade-separated overpass at Woodhill Drive. Woodhill Drive and Life Lane would remain at ground level, along with the sidewalk and shared use paths. New Circle would be grade separated above Woodhill and Life Lane. There would be no access to Woodhill Drive or Life Lane from New Circle. Instead, drivers on Woodhill Drive wishing to access New Circle would use Codell Drive and then Palumbo Drive to turn onto New Circle Road. The New Circle intersections with Palumbo Drive and Young Drive would remain signalized intersections. No left turns would be allowed out of Young Drive. Instead, drivers would turn right and make a U-turn at the Palumbo Drive and New Circle intersection. There would be right-in, right-out access to the business entrances along the corridor. Please know that the following few slides will contain several maps and graphics that may be hard to see in detail. They are available for separate viewing by using links on the website. The second alternative being considered for Section A of the project is an at-grade right-in, right-out access to New Circle Road at Woodhill Drive. The Woodhill Drive intersection would become unsignalized, where only right turns in and out are allowed. For drivers turning right out of Woodhill Drive onto northbound New Circle Road, there would be a U-turn opportunity downstream. The New Circle intersections with Palumbo Drive and Young Drive would remain signalized. However, no left turns would be allowed out of Palumbo Drive or Young Drive. Instead, drivers would turn right and make a U-turn at the next intersection. There would be right-in and right-out access to the business entrances along the corridor. Within this alternative, there are two grade-separated pedestrian options to cross New Circle Road at Woodhill Drive. One is a triple pedestrian underpass. The sidewalk and shared use paths would ramp down to an underpass, allowing pedestrians to cross under Woodhill Drive, Life Lane, and New Circle Road. The other alternative is an overpass that would allow pedestrians to cross over New Circle Road. Pedestrians wishing to cross Woodhill Drive or Life Lane would use the crosswalks at ground level with the roadway. For Segment B of the project, from the R.J. Corman Railroad Bridge to Trade Center Drive, there are two alternatives being considered. Innovative intersections are being considered for the Liberty Road and New Circle Road intersection to provide smoother flow and reduce the potential for crashes. Please see the intersection simulations video on the website, which contains descriptions of these operations and advantages of this and other types of innovative intersections presented at tonight's public meeting. There are also links to KYTC's Safer Road Solutions webpage with additional information on these innovative intersections. One alternative is Liberty Road as an overpass above New Circle Road. Drivers wishing to access New Circle Road from Liberty Road would do so with the connector roads via Creative Drive or the Liberty Road connector. The overpass includes a shared use path for pedestrians and bicyclists. There would be a right-in, right-out access to the business entrances along the corridor. The other alternative for Segment B is an at-grade bow tie intersection with two roundabouts along Liberty Road. The Liberty Road intersection with New Circle would remain signalized, but there would be no left turns allowed at the intersection from all approaches. Drivers wanting to make a left turn would instead make a right turn or go straight through the intersection depending on the approach they are traveling from, then use one of the roundabouts to turn around. A final right turn once returning to the Liberty Road and New Circle Road intersection would get the drivers traveling in their desired direction. This alternative would also include a pedestrian underpass across New Circle Road at the Liberty Road intersection. There would be right-in, right-out access to the business entrances along the corridor. The current 6-year highway plan, developed by the Cabinet and Legislature, has $2.2 million for the right-of-way acquisition in the fiscal year 2026, $3 million for the utility relocation in fiscal year 2026, and $37 million for construction in the fiscal year 2028. After this meeting, the design team will continue collecting information with the intent of identifying the preferred alternative this year. Right-of-way plans will be submitted and the appraisal and acquisition process will begin in 2026. The utility relocation work will also likely start in 2026, with roadway construction beginning in 2028. At tonight's public meeting, two forms are provided to those who attended. One was a brochure with a brief explanation of the project and some graphics that have been included in this presentation. Another form was a questionnaire where we asked for feedback and opinions on the alternatives and those preferred by the public for further consideration. Both of these forms are available for PDF downloads from the website. Please note the address and the final date for sending it in by mail if you download and fill out the questionnaire. You can also use the interactive questionnaire and submit it electronically when completed. Please know that any information you provide will be kept confidential and you are not required to provide any information that makes you uncomfortable. Additional contact names, email addresses, and phone numbers are also provided if you need to reach us. We would like to thank you for viewing this presentation and look forward to reading your responses to the questionnaire or receiving any questions or comments that you may have.